Hello, good morning and good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining the Oracle Apex Office Hours JPAC. This is the first edition in 2026. I welcome you all to the Oracle Apex Office Hours JPAC's first edition in 2026. My name is Chaitanya. I'm a Director of Product Management and Strategy for Oracle Apex. I'm a Global Product Manager. I also lead the product management team for Oracle Apex in JPAC. Today's topic is extending Apex UI with template components and plugins. And today's presenter is Ashwin Rao, who is a PM in the Apex team in JPAC. Right, so a quick introduction on what this topic is all about. I'm sure most of you have already tried out template components. Template components in Apex provide a powerful way to create rich, reusable user interface experiences while making you still aligned with the universal theme. In today's session, Ashwin will walk us through the universal theme's built-in components, badges, and avatars. He will show us how to get started with and how these components can be used to deliver modern, visually consistent interfaces with minimal effort. He will show us how he will show us a demo where he will be showcasing how to create custom template components from scratch. And also, finally, he'll showcase how they work seamlessly, how template components work seamlessly alongside the traditional Apex plugins. So before moving on to the actual topic, I would like to have you take a look at this blog post that we published towards end of the year, last year in 2025. You might be wondering what has been happening with Apex and what are the events and how is the momentum in 2025. So this blog post actually would cover all of the events, or a majority of the events, rather, I would say not all, a majority of the events that we did in 2025 in JPAC region. So I would request the team to post the URL in the chat for the benefit of the attendees. So please review them, and this will actually give you an idea of how the momentum is with Apex in JPAC. And we really look forward to doing a lot of these events. We're getting started actually with these events in 2026. So see you soon at any of the upcoming events. And speaking of the events, the very close one that we have is the Oracle AI World Tour Mumbai, which is happening on February 10th. So please scan the QR code to register for this event and do meet the Apex team there. The Apex PM team will be there to meet you and then to discuss with you about Apex and what's coming up in Apex roadmap. And we also have sessions covering. So please do join us at AI World Tour Mumbai on Feb 10th. And after that, the next immediate event is the Oracle Data Deep Dive Bangalore, which is happening at Oracle Tech Hub in Bangalore, which is our Oracle facility. And this is on February 13th. So you're most welcome to join both the AI World Tour Mumbai as well as the Data Deep Dive in Bangalore. But this is happening on 13th and AI World Tour is happening on 10th. Now, today's speaker, I also already announced about Ashwin, is a principal product manager on the Oracle Apex team. Ashwin is primarily responsible for JPAC region, but he also works with customers globally. Ashwin's primary focus is customer engagements and partner engagements. And Ashwin is one of the leads for the Apex Partnerage program in JPAC. So if you are a partner and you would like to collaborate with the Oracle Apex team on any of the initiatives, Ashwin is the go-to person. With that, I'm passing it on to Ashwin. Over to you, Ashwin.
Thank you, Chaitanya. Okay, hello everyone. In this session, I'm going to talk about how to extend your Apex AI with template components and plugins. So basically, we're going to learn what is template component, how to use template components, and also at the end of this session, we're going to explore how we can create a new template component from scratch, right? Which is nothing but the plugin type, which you can create in your shared components, right? Before I start, a quick safe harbor. The topic we're going to discuss today is already in production. If I happen to make any forward-looking statement, please don't make any purchasing decisions solely on the discussions we are going to have today. All right. So before we talk about what is template component, let us understand what are the different challenges we are facing before template component was introduced, right, as part of Apex 23.1. So Oracle Apex is a powerful low-code AI application platform, right, which has a lot of which has a lot of high value components that you can build, that you can use to build your applications. But having said that, suppose let us say if you want to build a custom reusable UI component, right, which looks different and behaves different to what we have as part of the out of the box components we have in Apex, you would go with the different approaches, right? One of the approach is having a PL SQL dynamic content region, right? You would simply have a PL SQL block wherein you would simply concatenate all the HTML tags there, and finally you would return that HTML tag and you would display it on the UI, right? Now, the issue here is duplication, right? Suppose, let us say if you want to call this dynamic content region across multiple pages, or if you want to use this custom UI component across multiple pages, what you would do, you would simply duplicate or recreate that dynamic content region across multiple pages. So it's not really reusable, right? You need to create that again in every pages you have. Also, if you want to refer it outside the application as well, you need to actually copy that and you need to revisit, right? And one of the other issue is the presentation logic, right? Basically, it's HTML layout and the business logic, like the SQL logic or a PL SQL logic you have. Both of them are in a single place, right? In a single kind of component. So there is no proper kind of distinction between both of them. So you would end up having a messy code, difficult to maintain or pretty much misorganized, right? And it would also open a possibility for security vulnerabilities as well. For example, XSS cross-site scripting, if you're not trying to escape the HTML properly, right? So there is an issue there. And another approach you would go is plugins, right? You would simply go to publicly available plugins and you would simply download them and you would just go ahead and use them, right? But this is, if you want to really customize it, or if you want to build your own plugins, you would require deep understanding of plugin APIs, which are available, right? The PL SQL APIs, right? And there is a bit of a learning curve involved there. And one of the another issue is difficult composition and nesting. Suppose if you want to combine a template component with, or let us say if you want to combine a UI component with another UI component, right? For example, calling buttons, right? Or trying to use some sort of page components along with the template components. There was no real nesting support, right? You would end up adding some custom HTML code there in order to achieve this. So to address all these sort of challenges, in comes template components, right? This is a new feature. It is basically a plugin type which was introduced as part of Oracle Apex 23.1, which enables you to create a custom reusable UI components, right? With just HTML and CSS. If you know HTML and CSS, then you can go ahead and build template components, right? And not just that, it also provides you an option to add template directives. Template directives is basically a special tokens which you can use in templates that enables you to control how you position the text around them. For example, you can use this as a part of your HTML expression, right? You can simply have conditional template directives provides you like a conditional logics where you can use if-else blocks inside your HTML expression to conditionally hide and show the HTML tags. It also provides you loop directives, right? You can use loops similar to how you use it in your PL SQL or SQL, right? You can also programmatically invoke other template components with the help of template directives, with the help of with and apply directives, right? So it provides a lot of support in order to programmatically invoke template components from your HTML expression, right? So the advantage here is reusability, right? You can simply create it once as part of your shared components under plugins, and you can reuse it across your application and also outside application as well, right? You can simply copy and subscribe to this plugin, and then you can reuse it. And also there's a clear separation between data and presentation logic. For example, in this case, all the HTML and UI layout has been maintained in the template component, right? And you can simply call this template component in your page designer as a part of your region type, and then map it to the SQL query in your report, right? You can simply map it to the template component. So it's dynamic in nature, right? And also it provides you native nesting and composition support. So what that means is you'll be able to simply create actions as part of this template components You will be able to create a checkbox for row selection support, which is all available declaratively as part of this template components, right? And also it provides you an option to define the slots, right? We're going to talk more about slots and how we can use them in the session. And also the byproduct of all the features, all the points which are discussed is beautiful custom UIs, right? You can simply build custom UIs, anything you want without much complexity. So that's a USP of template components. Okay, so enough of slides. Let us go ahead and try to explore practically how we can create new template components and leverage it, right? All right. I already have an application. So the first thing is universal theme. So universal theme provides you pre-built or predefined template component as part of the theme itself, which are commonly referred to as theme components. So how do I use that? I have a region, right? You simply create a region. Under the region type, you have theme components. Under that, you have a predefined or pre-built template components, which are available as part of your universal theme itself. Okay, so let us take a couple of examples here. We have avatar, badge, comments, content row, media list, and timeline. I'm sure most of you might have explored this. Let us go ahead and see how we can create an avatar, right? Avatar is nothing but like a profile icon which you can display, right? So I will go with the avatar. I will simply change the name as profile. All right. The type is avatar. I will go with the location as none for now. Right? I don't want to refer to any sort of data source. And under attributes, I have something called as display. So you see there are two options here, multiple and single. So these are the different types of template components you can use. Multiple, what it means is you can create multiple instances of your template components, right? It will display template components for each row of your report, right? If you just tie it up to your SQL query, it will display template components for each row, right? And single is basically it will create a single instance or a single appearance of your template components, right? You can either use it as a region type. In our case, I'm not tying it up to any location or a data source. So I can simply use display as single, right? I'm just displaying a single instance of this template component. So I can go with a single. Or if you want to use it as a column type, right, in your interactive reports, you can also do that with the help of this particular template component type. Okay, I will go with a single partial. And again, under settings, it automatically changes attributes based on the type or the theme components you have chosen here. For avatar, we have these attributes, right? So there are different types. Either you can display an image, right? If you have some image stored in a blob, or if you have image stored in your object storage, you can just display them here, right? Either you can display initials if you have any column, right, which is defined in your report or a data source, you can simply select that column. Or you can display an icon, right? You can simply select font apex icons and you can display them. Okay, I will go with the image as part of this demo. And under image source, I will simply go with the URL. I already have a URL. I already stored an image in my shared components. Let me simply call that path, right? I've stored that as part of my application files. Simply click on OK. Now I have other options, right? I have descriptions. If you want to have a tooltip that is available declaratively, you don't need to have a CSS to define this, right? And then I have a shape. I will not go with the description. I will go with the shape. I can have anything here, right? I can have rounded, circular, square, and no shape. This pretty much covers most of the scenarios, right? I'll go with circular. For size, I will go with large. I have different size as well, right? And also I can define a CSS class. If I want to do some additional stuff or additional styling, I want to add it, I can add a class here and then I can add some CSS style for that, right? Simply save it. Let us see how it actually looks. All right, so this is the image which I have stored. So it's basically displaying in the form of avatar, right? As easy as it gets, right? So that is about avatar. Let us try to change the location now, right? I'll try to have some data source. Let me select local database and let me have the table name here. Let me just select one of the table, which I have, employee table. Now what it happens, you cannot have display as single, right? Because I'm trying to render multiple instances of the template component. So I will go with the multiple, right? Now it gives you some more options, right? You have pagination and all those sort of things. Although the settings remains intact, right? Either I can get this value as part of my column, or I can simply refer this hard-coded value, right? I will go with this for now. Let us see how it actually appears. So basically, it's going to give you multiple instances of the template component, right? As many records I have in employee table, it is giving me that many template components. Okay, let's try to explore other template or theme components. I will go the badge for now. For badge, again, I have a different settings under attributes. Simply, I would like to display my job as a badge here. Let me go with the job as a value. I'm simply selecting the column value here. I'm trying to map it. Again, I have a different sort of attribute here called state. The possible values are danger, warning, and success and info, right? You can simply define it as part of your column, and then you can select that column here. I will not go with that. If you want an icon, you can simply select an icon, right? I will simply have one suitcase icon here. Although, and also the style, right? You can also select it. Either you want to have simply an outline or subtle. All these options are available declaratively, right? As part of this template component. If you want to have a rounded shape, if you want to have a specific size, you can also define that, right? You can also specify the pagination as well, right? Just click on save. Let's see how it looks. All right, so we are getting a multiple instances of the template component as a badge here. This is basically a job title, right? So that is one way of using it. Next, let us explore content row. Okay, content row basically displays your data in the form of list. Okay, so again, when you select content row, you would be getting different settings here, right? We have overline, title, description, and miscellaneous. So we just need to map a specific column to these attributes. Okay, I can select from here, or I can just have an HTML code as well as a source of this title. So I will go with the title as my name, right? I will go with the description as hire date. Let's select hire date. Here I can simply specify like hire date. If I want to, improvise it or customize it, I can do that as well. I can just have a HTML code here in order to do that, right? If I want to display avatar, so this is what I was talking about, the nesting support, right? You can display avatar badges. Again, content row is one template component, and under that we can have or call multiple other template components as well. So it provides you nesting support, right? So I'm going to check avatar and badge. I want to show that. And under icon, I will go with the user icon. I'll keep it as it is. I'll go with circular. I will go with medium, right? And also for the badge, I will simply go with the job. I would like to select job as my label again, right? I will simply select job here. I don't have any state. And I will go with the subtle. Shape would be rounded. Size would be medium, right? You can pretty much select all the attributes here, right? You don't need to have a explicitly CSS style explicitly defined. All right. You can also position it. Where do you want to position your badge, right? I would like to position it at the end of the content row. Then also, I would like to align it at the center. You also have an option to apply theme colors. I would like to go with that for now. And also the style. You can also choose between default and compact, right? Let me save this. Let me refresh. All right, so this is how the content row looks like. I have an avatar, I have my title. This is my subtitle or a description, right? I have my badge as the job, right? So this is one way of using it. Now, I would like to show you one couple of more features, right? Which we can add as part of this content row. We can also have row selection. Let us say if you want to have a checkbox at each row, right? And you want to do a multiple selection, and you want to perform some operation on top of this. How would you ideally do it? You would have some sort of HTML, or you would use some Apex item APIs, right? If needed. Here, you don't need to do that. You just need to enable this row selection support. I will go with the multiple selection. You can also go with single selection. I will go with multiple selection. And here, I need to select an item where I'm going to populate, right? Whatever I have selected, for example, I've selected King, I selected Blake and Clark, right? I want to populate these selected values or the primary key of the selected values into some page item, okay? So I need to have one page item in order to populate it, right? So that I can use that page item in order to process further. You can use that page item, which will have like a comma separated values. And then I will perform some operation, like I will have some process or whatever I want. Okay. Let me simply create one page item. I will keep it as check values. I'll keep it as text field in order to see how it actually looks. I'll go back to my attributes and place it here, right? So this is the page item which holds my selected values. Okay. Let me refresh it. All right. Now we have the checkbox here. I can simply check and you can see the primary value is being populated here, right? And it actually assigns a colon separated value into this page item as you choose, right? You don't need to use JavaScript in order to achieve this. It's available declaratively as part of the template component. All right. Now, let us try to add some more things. I would like to have one checkbox, which on choosing that, it selects all of them, right? I don't want to select one by one, right? I would like to have a checkbox to check all these records. I will simply go here. I'll create one new checkbox first. I'll name it as check all. Okay, the type would be checkbox. And simply I will refer to that in the select all page items. Okay, let's see what it happens. All right, so I have a checkbox here called check all. It automatically selects all the records here, right? And it also populates here. Both of them are doing their job, right? This is populating it and this is checking all the records. All right, so this is one of the feature of content row. Now let us say I want to add some buttons, right? I would like to add some actions. How do I do that? Again, there is an action option here. Just right click and create an action. Under action, you have different position, right? You would like to trigger some action or some process, or you want to invoke some page, right? You want to open some page. On click of a specific position on your template component or the content row, right? I can either have it on click of my avatar or on click of my title or in click of my badge and so on, right? So I can define that here as part of the action, right? There are different positions where we can have this action. I will go with the primary actions. Here I can create a menu button or a button, right? Menu button will have multiple options under it. A button will be a single standalone button, okay? I will go with the menu because I would like to have a button where I can do some more operation, not only just, let's say, edit. I would like to have edit and delete as part of the menu. Okay, let me select menu. Let me name this as actions. If you want, you can change the appearance, right? You can have text with icon and so on. I will go with whatever I have here. All right, so let's go and define the menu. I would like to have two menus. One is edit, right? And what should happen when I click on that menu, right? I will simply give a URL here. I'll simply redirect to some page where I want to redirect to. Either you can also, pass page items if needed. I would not like to do that. I will create another menu here. Now, again, there are different types of menu you can create. Okay. The one which I created is the menu entry, and there are different types which you can create, right? You can create as a sub menu, or you can have a separator as well. Basically, it will create you a line, right, under that particular menu. Okay. I want to have that kind of separator between different menu options. So I will choose the type as a separator. Again, I will create one more menu in order to delete. Okay. So this would be my delete. Again, I will go with the same one. Just okay. Let me select the page. Let's see how it looks. All right, so it has created a action button for me. When I click on that, it is displaying the menu, right? We have two options here. I have delete. Let me try to modify this to make it. So this is my edit button, and I have a delete button, right? Or a delete option. All right, so when I click on action, I have edit and I have a delete. So we can create an action and we can define some process behind that. All right, so that's about the content row. Now this is a region type theme component. How about using template component or invoking template component as a column type in your reports, right? For example, interactive report or a classic report. How would you do that? So let's go to another page. So here I already have an interactive report. Now again, I'm fetching some contact related data here. Okay, I have initials, I have name, email, and so on. Now I would like to try to beautify it, right? I want to enhance this by using template components as a column type. Okay, let me edit this. If I go to interactive report, any of the columns, right? I would like to change my initials here, and I want to display an author right here. How would I do that? Go to initials, and here under the type, just select author. Okay, so you have again pretty much the same options what you see as part of the region type, right? You can select author, and here it asks you for a settings again. Pretty much the same settings we had there while as part of the region type, right? And again, we have an option, similar options, region, initial, image, initials, and icon. I will go with the initials this time, right? I already have a column which has a value of initials. I'm using this API, Apex string get initials, in order to construct a initial. Let me go to the initial back again, and I will simply select the initials. Okay, if I need description, I can do that. And I will also set up a shape, something like circular. Again, I will go with the same sort of options. Simply select that. Click on refresh. Okay, there you go. We have the initial being displayed, right? You can adjust the size as you wish. If it looks really big and clumsy, you can also adjust the size as well. Now I would like to do a couple of more changes. I would like to select the job title as a badge. How do I do that again? I go to job title. Again, I will select it as this as a badge. Use some kind of label. Give the value as job title. I don't have any state. If needed, I can conditionally have some sort of class, and I can use that here. Okay. The style, I will keep it as subtle. I will keep this as rounded, and this size will be medium. Okay, let's quickly see how it looks. All right, so it does change the job title to badge as well, right? I would like to add one more thing. I would like to add an action button here, right? So let us see how we can add an action button. Again, I already have a column called actions. So here I will just change the type as content row. Okay. And I will not populate any one of this because I just need a button. I don't need anything else. I don't want to have a content row, but I would like to have a button there, which basically is a menu button. Okay. If you go and expand this, you also have an option for actions. Just right click, create an action similar to how we create an action for a content row. I will go with the primary actions. I will go with the menu, create actions. And I will create some menu here, right? Something like edit. Simply create one more menu, which would be delete, right? Just give it a link. That's all. Just refresh. Let me refresh again. Okay. Let me select that column from the actions. There you go. You have the button. And on click of that, you have a menu button, right? You have all the options which you have added there. So that's how easy it it is to use this template component as part of your column type, right? Now let us move on to classic report. Let us see how we can use template component as part of this column type. Let me edit this page. I have a classic report. Now, again, I have similar data displayed here. I would like to change this into an avatar. I would like to do something more here, right? Because it's a classic report, we can customize it even further, right? I would like to display it as a batch, and I would like to club name, email, and phone number into a single column, and I want to display it as a content row. Okay, let's do that again. Go to the initials column, go to the type. I don't see theme components here, right? So how do I do that? How do I add or invoke template component from here? This is where you can use HTML expression. Like I already explained, we have something called as template directives, right? Which we can invoke from your HTML expression, right? You can invoke a different template component programmatically in the HTML expression, right? So I want to display an avatar here. And how do I do that? We have something called as with and apply directive. Okay. So what it means is it's applying this avatar theme component, right? This is an internal name of avatar theme component. It is using this with these placeholders while assigning the values from the report, right? So basically these are the values. Either you can simply fetch it from the data you have from the report with the help of this, just enclosing it within these hashtags, right? Or you can just simply have a class names here, right? So these are the different attributes which we saw as part of the settings, right? So these are the ones which we need to assign in order to make it appear similar to what we have for template components, okay? So we just need to come up with the proper names. We already have a documentation for that, how to use template directives, all right? So we have all the logic and the syntax which we can use as part of template directives. We can use if-else logic, we can use loops, we can use case statement, and we can also use with and apply in order to invoke a template component, right? Something like this. Okay. Once you have that, I already have given my class names. I'm using a theme CSS classes. I'm using the value from my data, right? I'll simply click on OK. Let me select that. So there you go. It looks pretty much similar to what we have as a type, right? We can simply invoke it with template directives. Now I would like to do some more changes. I would like to change it to batch and club these three into a single column where I will use it as a content row. So again, I will go to job title, HTML expression, and have a code here. All right, let's again see the settings and the placeholders change, right? So we have different placeholder names here, label, value, style, specific to my batch theme component. All right. Let me just click on OK. Now, again, I have name, email, and phone number. Let me just hide this and have single column name and have a HTML expression here, which displays a content row. Okay. Now this would appear a bit different. Again, I'm using a content row theme component. And here under the description, we have title, description, and so on, right? We had multiple settings, which we already witnessed. But here, under descriptions, I would like to have some sort of HTML tags. We can also do that, right? We can also add HTML tags here, get the data from your report, and also add some, call some CSS font apex icons, and also call some more data, right? And also we can use template directives as well. Like for example, if-else block. You can also add them as part of this values here. Okay. Let me just save this. Let's see how it looks. All right, so this looks pretty good, right? Compared to the interactive report. So we can customize it, make it more look or appear more better while using HTML expression, right? So this is about how to use template component in the as part of the column type. Now let us explore how we can create a new template component, right? Basically a plugin type. So what are we building today? So basically, we are building a resume builder or a resume. Let me just try to minimize this a bit. Okay, so we are building a resume, right? What's better than building your resume for Oracle Apex with Oracle Apex, right? Using template components. So I've broken down into 3 parts. So we're going to build this. We're going to see how it has been built, the template component, and then we'll try to leverage it as part of a page designer. So let's see how we can build this. Okay, so I've broken down into 3 parts. The first part is a header part. Okay, so this is one template component, and it is using some attribute values. All these names are, or the name, the title, and all these things are attribute values, which is derived from the attribute section of your template component. Even about me is the attribute value. And then we are using some slots, right? Where we can reuse the page components. For example, any page items or regions or buttons. We can also reuse them as part of your template component, right? We can nest them as part of a template component. So I'm using the display image here to display the profile image, and I have a buttons which are placed in a particular slot. So we're going to see how we can create slots and we can use buttons, right? And then I have another template component, right? This is again a new template component which I've created, which I've embedded inside the parent template component. Okay, so I've created a separate template component for this in order to display skills. And this is coming up from it could come up from your database data, or you can fetch it from the attributes as well. All right. And then I have one more template component called timeline, which we created from scratch again. Again, this is embedded as part of this final parent template component. And again, I'm reusing the same template component here, right? So that's about reusability. So we can reuse it as much as we want. Okay. For different purpose, right? Here I'm trying to display job and experience. Here I'm displaying the academic education. All right. So let us see how to develop this. The first thing, in order to create a new template component, go to shared components, go to plugins, right? Under the other components. This is where you define your template component. I already have the template component developed. So let's go to resume header. All right. So when you create a template component, you should have a plugin which is of type template components. Okay. So that's one of the type of plugin, just like region plugins or page item plugins and so on, right? So you can create a type. And then the next option is different types. The types of
Ashwin,
templates.
sorry to interrupt. Can you zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. All right. I hope it is clear now.
A little bit more? Yep.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, we have different types of template, right? Which we already discussed. We have single, multiple, and region only. In my case, it is just a single instance of the template component, right? So I'll go with the region. If you want to display it as a report, you can also go ahead and do that, right? But it doesn't make sense since I'm just displaying a single set of record or a single record from the table. So I would ideally go with the region only, right? Let us explore other types as well. But for now, this is region only. And then I'm displaying a HTML layout in my partial, right? This is where you define your HTML code, okay? And now there are a couple of things we need to know here. The first thing is something like a substitution string. So we have a substitution string. These are all built-in substitution strings which are available as part of the template component. If I go to help here, so these are the different substitution strings you can use, right? For example, I'm using Apex $DOM-ID. So what does it do? It actually uses the internal IDs. It will generate an internal ID for me, right? For example, a region ID, right? Whenever you create a new region, it generates an internal region ID, right? Or if you have specified a static ID, it will just use that static ID here. When you're trying to use this as part of your page designer, it's basically going to call that value and it's going to substitute here. That is what it is doing. Similarly, we can use different other substitution strings, like for example, Apex $title, right? If you want to reuse the title of your region when you're creating a region using this template component, if you want to reuse that name, you can simply substitute with this Apex $title. That will simply replace the value, okay? Similarly, I have other placeholders, right? Now there are two different types of placeholders. One is an attribute, and then there is something called slots. Okay. Now, what is an attribute? Attribute is basically an input value which you are passing it from the attribute section or a settings section of your region, right? When you create a region using this template component, you might have seen the second tab called as attributes. You're just passing some values, right? The input values. Those things will be substituted as part of this placeholders. Okay. So now what are the different input values I have? I have the title, you mean the name. I have job title, I have the location, and about me. All these things are attributes, right? In my case. So I will simply have it enclosed inside this hashtags, right? Job title and all those sort of things. And then I will create a custom attributes, right? We need to create a custom attributes. Okay. So I have it defined here already. And profile photo. Now this is a slot in my case, right? Because I would like to use my page component. Here I'm using a display image page item type. So I will simply have a profile photo, which is a slot. And again, I have three buttons, right? I'm using this LinkedIn, X, and the email button. So again, I've created them as a placeholder, and then I'm defining that as a slot here underneath. Okay, it's over here. So let's talk about custom attributes, right? You can create a custom attribute. Now there are different types of attributes you can create, right? How you want your attribute to behave or look in your template component, right? So there are different types. Text, simply a text field. It will come up as a text field. You enter some value there, or you just refer to the value from your report. You can also have a text area. In my case, this would be a text. This would be a text because it's a small text. For about me, I'm using a text area type, right? So you can use as whatever you want. If you want to display some media, right? You can use media. If you want to display some color picker, or if you want to display some icon, you can use icons and so on, right? So whatever you choose here, this is nothing but like a page item type. Consider this like a page item type, which would appear on your attribute section. We will explore that once we try to create a new template component or a region type from using this template component. So that's how we can create attributes. And then we have slots, right? So we have created different slots. I want a slot for display image. I want a slot for the buttons. So for display image, this is my slot profile photo, right? So you need to use the same name as what you're defining here, like a profile photo. Okay. If I go here, this is the same name, which I'm using it here as part of the static ID. Okay. Now in slot, what do you mean by slot? Basically, it is used to position, or it acts as a placeholder where you can place different components of your page designer. For example, regions, buttons, or page items, right? And you can also restrict what type of region you can have, or what type of page items you can have, right? You can restrict them so that as a developer, I will not end up selecting something which is not intended to, right? For example, in region, if I go to this particular region slot, I can select only this particular region. It's again another template component, which I'm going to talk about later. But you can also restrict the type of region type you can have. Similarly, here I would like to display only display image. I don't want developer to select something else, number field or something, right? It doesn't make sense. So we can restrict that under this as part of supported items. So that's about the slots and attributes. And you can also do a default if you want to, whenever you're trying to create a new region, you want to default it as this particular region or a template component, you can also do that, or a slot, you can do that, right? And all the CSS and JavaScript files, you can simply upload it here as part of a create file, just upload it and add your code. So that should just refer to this CSS and JavaScript, right? Pretty easy. Now, as I told you, I have divided it into three parts. First part is your header, which we already defined it here. This is the header part. Now, if you see, there are some slots which I'm using here, right? I'm using a skills region. Again, this is a template component in itself. Similarly, I have a job timeline region and academic timeline region, which is again a new template component, right? Which I have created under this slots. right? I'm using that template component. So let's go and look at that quickly. I have created a new template component for displaying the skills, right? So again, this is a template component type. Now, if you see, the type has changed here, right? Because I'm trying to display it from my table data, I could have a multiple instances of my template component. So basically, the goal is to create HTML for one template component, for example, one particular layout, and then use report as a type so that it renders and displays it multiple times, right? So I have a HTML for that in order to display this progress bar or a progress circle. And then we have to display report row. So basically what we are trying to do is we have this partial, which is a base HTML layout. And then if we have report row, here we are calling this with the help of substitution strings again. Basically, we are calling this inside this particular list item tags. And then we need to use this. Without this, you will not be able to save because this is basically a unique identifier, which it automatically or internally generates in order to consider it as a separate row, right? You can get all the information here under the help. Okay. And then we have a report body, right? In report body, we are simply calling the rows, whatever we have added here as part of the report rows, we are displaying it here, right? So basically we are calling this inside this, and for partial, it will simply substitute the value, whatever you have under partial. Okay. So this is the format you need to enter in order to create a report template component type. Again, it's pretty much a similar thing. You have an option for row selection support if you want to enable checkbox, right? Like how I showed in content row, you can just enable that. It will create you an option to add a checkbox. I don't need that in my case. So we can have that, but you don't need to use them, right? We can also add a custom attributes, right? This is what would be the input from my region type. I need percent and skill. This is coming from my table data, so I need to create it as an attribute, right? I don't have any slots, right? And then finally, I have a CSS. Okay. The same thing. Similarly, I've created a timeline, right? So it's again one more different template component which you can use with a similar kind of structure here, right? Like what I explained. All right. So I have different attributes here, right? In this case, I need period, name, and title. Okay. So I need this. This is my period. This is my job, company name, and this is my title, right? So I need 3 attributes as an input values. All right. So let us go ahead and build it from scratch now. So I already have my shared components. I'm in template components. Let's try to create a new page quickly. Let's name it as resume. Let me quickly create one. Let's see how we can use this template component which we created, right? And make it look somewhat similar to what we have here. All right, so quickly under body, create a region. Under type, let's name it resume. Under type, let me select the resume header. This is the one which you have created as part of the plugin, right? Let me select type as resume header. Right now, when you go to the attribute section, it gives you all these setting values. This is our input values or attributes which you created. Now we need an input for that. Either you fetch it from your report. I don't have any report linked to this, or a data source linked to this. So I will simply add some static values, right? Also, you can also add value from your page item as well. You can simply use something like this, page item and dot, right? Something like this. It will fetch the value from your page item as well. All right. Simply pass all the values, job title, about text, right? And also the location and phone, right? This is nothing but for this part. Okay, I will simply add or pass all the values. Okay, now let me quickly save this. Now this is for attributes. How about display image and a button, right? This is where we have defined slots. So how to create a slot? Again, right click. My slot is a page item type. So I will simply create a new page item type. As you can see, automatically it is created under a profile photo slot. So this is a slot which you created, right? So automatically it has created whatever page item you create, right? It will simply default it to a display image. I cannot select any other page item types, right? Because if I go to unsupported, it will come up, but it will give an error when you try to run it. So I will select display image. I'll select it as profile. I will go with something like image, right? And I will go with the source at static value. Let me pull my URL of the image, right? So this is for the profile, right? And now let me just try to do some slight modifications, right? And then let me create one more couple of buttons, right? We need these buttons for LinkedIn, Twitter, or X, and email button. So let me try to create a create button. As you can see, it's falling under this particular slot which you created, LinkedIn, right? Let me do a LinkedIn, and let me have an icon. Again, icon, you can select something like, all right. Simply select this as primary. Similarly, I will create a different buttons, right, under each slot. So under slot, Twitter, I would like to create a Twitter button. Right. Now it is called as X, but yeah. All right. Similarly, I will duplicate this and quickly create it under a email slot, right? So this is again my email button, mail, and change my CSS or font prefix icons here. Let me see how it looks. Let me quickly run this. All right, so we have the header part of it, right? So we have successfully developed that. Quickly, we have recreated it without any hassle. Now, if I want to do a skills, in interest of time, I will just cover skills. Okay, I will simply create a region here, create a subregion. Now you can select a slot. So we have created a slot for each of these templates. So I will go with the skills, simply select that skills slot. And then here, just have a SQL query since it is a report type. All right. I already have some query. I'm trying to fetch it from Duel, but you can use table in order to fetch it as well. Okay, so these are my skills. Go to attributes. Now these are the required values. Just map it to the specific column which you selected in your report, percent, and this will be skill, right? Just select that. Just do minor adjustments to make it look pretty similar. I will go with the standard. These are my region templates, right? I would like to have a region icon and display it as accent to. Also try to have some margin, right? And also have some kind of icon for my region. Just name the title as skills. Okay, so let me do one more adjustments. Let me do this remove UI decoration, make it look even better. All right, so we have the skills added. Similarly, we can add timeline. In interest of time, I'm not going to do that, but again, you can simply do a sub-region here and then select the slot, right? Simply select the slot here as job timeline and go it and select the type as the one which you created, right? The new template component, right? Which will be the timeline region. So that will appear here, and then simply create a report query and map it in attributes. Okay, that's how you can create and invoke the template components. So with that, that's all I had. Over to you, Shailu. Thank you. Any questions? Let me know.
All right. Thank you so much, Ashwin, for such an interesting session. And it was really exciting to see that how we are using template components and especially plugins to enhance our Apex UI. We have few questions in the chat. And I think most of them is answered by the panelists. So thank you so much to all the panel members for answering the question. There's a one question. Should we use scoped classes when dealing with CSS on template components?
Could you repeat that again?
Yeah. Should we use scoped classes when dealing with CSS on template components?
What do you mean by scope classes? If you can.
Okay, so I think it's not clear.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries.
So you could simply use CSS there, right? Pretty much any CSS styles, you can simply refer to that. So it could be like a theme level CSS classes, which is a part of universal theme. You can simply use them as well. And pretty much anything, right? I think you are talking about the global variable CSS classes. You can also use them as part of the CSS.
All right, there's another question. Can we have progress bar in content row? If yes, is the template available or we need to use CSS?
So in this case, there is no declarative option available there. You need to again, try to enhance or extend the existing template component, right? For example, now the template component content row is used as a template. If you go to a template, just create a copy of that and try to add your HTML there for a progress bar so that this will be added as a new template component, right? So currently there is no option there, but you can extend it with your HTML. Just take a copy of your template and use that.
Right. One last question we'll take. Is there a way in Oracle Apex to display or preview a base64 encoded image or PDF without using an iframe?
I think this is not in terms of template component, but we can take this up offline.
Sure. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone. Now, as we are at the end of this session, I would like to share some of the resources that I think it would be very helpful to you. So if you have not watched our latest issue of Apex newsletter, please go ahead and watch it. Scan this QR and you will able to see the latest Apex newsletter. It has a lot of exciting updates like past events. We have exciting new blogs and all the live labs as well. So please do watch it. And if you are new to Apex or would like to brush up your Apex skills, then Apex Professional Learning Path is the best option for you. This Apex Learning Path has two key courses which you can go through. One is Oracle Apex Developer Professional. Here you can learn the fundamentals of building powerful low-code applications. You can use this link to go through that. And also we have a course on empowering low-code apps with AI. Here you will learn how to integrate your applications with AI and Gen AI capabilities. Also, you can use this particular link to go through that. And once you complete this particular course, you can opt for Oracle Apex Cloud Developer Professional certification. Once you are done that, you can just share your certification on LinkedIn, and you can use this following hashtag so that it can reach out to the wider community. And if you want to replay this office hours or any of the previous office hours, if you have missed, you can do it. You can watch the recording on our YouTube. You can just go to the link apex.oracle.com/go/playlist/JPAC. And yes, in your Apex journey, if you need any of the help, or if you are building something very cool, exciting applications, you are definitely welcome to reach out to us. Or if you have any interesting idea, or if you want to present in any of our JPAC office hours, please do reach out to us in that given email ID. And the same will be pasted in the chat as well. With this, we are done with today's session. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. See you all in the next office hour session. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.